up, everybody? I am Brandi Harvey. I'm so excited you decided to join us for this month's Vault Empowers Talks. We done a whole rebranding, y'all. Y'all know we were in a live training experience. Now, look at God. We got us a whole new look, walk, and talk. So I'm excited. This month, as we do every month, you know we cover 5 pillars, and this month is no different. We'll be talking about personal development. I'm excited to have the conversation with none other than author, pastor, speaker, teacher, leader, Dr. Darius Daniels. So if you guys are ready, I need you to do one thing. I need you to go ahead, hit that subscribe button, go ahead and like, comment, and join the Vault Village. Don't miss anything that we have coming up. Turn on those notifications so you are ready to get a good message to inspire and empower your life. Y'all, I want you to write some comments in the chat because this month we are giving away a signed copy of Dr. Darius Daniels' book, Your Purpose is Calling. But we're gonna get into this book today because we got some behind the scenes on that one, all right? So if you are ready to get started, I'm ready too. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Darius Daniels, I gotta go ahead and say author, speaker, certified emotional intelligent specialist. Okay, I ain't never heard nobody call themselves that, but you are the first. Listen, you are the lead pastor of the multi-site, multi-regional Change Church. You're a professor at Princeton University. You're the founder and coach of Daniel's Den and Bible U, where you help people understand, interpret, and explain the Bible better. Mm-hmm. You are on a mission to help as many people as possible become their best selves while doing their best work. Vault Empowers, welcome to the show, Dr. Darius Daniels.
Listen, that's quite an intro. Did you? Whoever wrote that, I need to give them something.
You know what? I had just went and got all the stuff that they had said about you on the internet.
I was like, wow.
That's you.
Listen,
that is you.
I'm so excited to be here. I know we've been trying to make it work for a while, and I've been looking forward to it. Yes. I know it's gonna be a great conversation.
Listen, you're a busy man, but you are a purposeful man, and so I understand that. So that part, we don't worry, it worked out, and this is where you're supposed to be today.
We're here, right?
Listen, right now. So we got a short amount of time on the clock with you because you got to get to your next thing. But I want to start, take me back to your small town in Mississippi. 700 residents lived in your town.
Yeah, it's actually less than 500 now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I grew up in a small town in Mississippi called Kilmichael, Mississippi.
Kilmichael,
that was the name of the town. And I think when I grew up, it was like under 800 people there. Now, this is no exaggeration. All right, Brandon, this is no exaggeration at all. 1 full-time police officer.
Wow.
1 part-time police officer. So one guy did the day shift.
Wow.
Another guy did the night shift. Now, in the day he drove the school bus because he would pick me up and drop me off at school. He lived on my street. So it was 1 full-time police officer, 1 part-time police officer, no stoplights.
Wow.
And 1 doctor and 1 nurse. So it's like, and you know where the doctor lived. So like if you go to the clinic and he's not there, you just pull up at the house. It was literally
like
a small town like that. Almost.
You grew up in Mayberry.
It was just more diverse. It was literally like when you think about Mayberry, it was like that. 33 people in my high school graduating class.
Wow.
That's where I grew up.
I had more people in my high school graduating class than live in your town. 545 people graduated in my high school class.
Yeah.
So your father taught you a very powerful lesson while living in that small town. He said that your enlightenment, not your environment, determines your outcome. So you initially went to law school. This was not your original outcome.
Yeah, I was going to law school. Until the second semester of my senior year of college. That's when I pivoted. But it's the weirdest thing because I grew up in this really small town. But my dad, I don't know how he did it, put really big dreams inside of me.
Yeah.
So even though I grew up in that small town, I never felt limited by that. You know what I mean? It was like, for him, it was almost like, your limitations are never going to be external. Mm. What happens externally, those are obstacles, but that doesn't mean that they have to inhibit and stop you from reaching your goals and your dreams. Your limitations are here.
Yeah.
So he would always tell me this one thing. He'd be like, well, he didn't say yo, but he would say, keep a level head.
Yeah.
Keep a level head. It was always about this because he made me feel like this was my limitation. This was my only limitation. And I don't know how he did it, but Brandi, I felt like I could do whatever I wanted.
Yeah, even in that small town.
In that small town, I felt like I could do whatever I wanted. I remember one time he corrected, I'm not gonna say who it was, but he corrected a very close family member of mine to their face, in my face. Because I think at this point I was thinking about going to Morehouse. And because Morehouse was one of the schools I was considering going to. And I was thinking about going to Morehouse, and somebody, when I said it, somebody in the family was like, you can't go to Morehouse from this school. And those out-of-state fees, like, you're not gonna be able to go to Morehouse. He didn't pull them to the side. He didn't wait till later. He said right in front of me right there, he said, don't ever tell him what he can't do. And then looked at me and said, you can go wherever you want. And it was like, that was the end of the conversation.
Wow.
So yeah, I never felt limited by that small town.
Because you always had a bigger mindset.
Yeah, and I think I completely attribute that to my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it still plays into how you teach now about mindset, about shifting, about making that shift in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I think you are wherever your mind is.
You are wherever
your mind is. So like my body was in Kilmichael, Mississippi, and I was there in Kilmichael, Mississippi, but my mind was gone.
So far.
Yeah. And I just learned you go to the next level head first. If you can get your head out, then your money will come out, your career will come out, your relationships will come out. And so, you know, we've talked a little bit off camera about some of the stuff that I teach, and it's weird. You kind of messed me up a little bit because you're able, it was almost like you made little comments and I felt like you were reading me a little bit.
You know what? I do tend to read people a little bit.
Okay.
But it's just a skill, and there's no harm.
Yeah. No,
it's really just I like to see people.
Yeah, I felt like you were reading me because I was like, yo, how does she know? She's like, yo, like you mentioned, like you use David and Goliath a lot. I was like, I really do because I see myself. I've always seen myself as that guy.
But that's one of my favorite stories in the Bible.
Yeah.
It's one of the favorite allegories in that because it shows us, so it reveals to us like the development of a person.
Sure.
A development of purpose along the way.
Yeah.
And we can go ahead and talk about that because that was actually one of the questions I want to get to. You talk about David and Goliath so much. Yeah. And one of the things in your series that you're currently in, you talked about how the most courageous thing for David was not the fight itself.
Yeah.
It was that when he looked Saul in the face and said, I can't wear what doesn't fit me.
Yeah. 100%.
Have you ever been wearing things that didn't fit you?
Yes. A lot. But the one that I feel like comes to my mind the most, that I feel like damaged me the most was, and we talked a little bit about this off camera too, like the pastoral box I felt like I kind of had to fit in because I got into this like really young. So I was going to law school. Then the second semester of my senior year, I decided not to and go to seminary. So I'm probably with my early 20s in seminary. And then I come out of seminary, I go right from undergrad to seminary, do that 3 years. And then a year after seminary, I planted church. So I'm in like my early 20s. All the pastors I knew were like older. They talked old. They wore suits all the time. They wore hats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like 26, like, what's up, Doc?
Right. What up, though?
Yeah. And so it was like the box and the mold, and it became suffocating for me. It became emotionally unhealthy for me. It became unintentionally performative. Like you don't know you're performing, but you're performing because it's a caricature. It's like, this is what kind of people expect. And I'm like, yo, I'm 26. I don't want to wear hard bottoms every day. You
every day.
Yeah. So
I want to be swaggy.
Yeah.
Like I want to show it a little bit.
Yeah, or comfortable. Right.
Yeah, just be comfortable.
Yeah.
So wearing things that don't fit. 2014, you're finishing up a book. You're finishing up doctoral work.
Yes.
And you experienced an anxiety attack.
I did.
And you said you were living right, but not living well.
Yeah. So by that, this is what I mean when I say living right and not living well. I was doing all of the stuff I
All
was
the
taught
pastoral
to
stuff.
do
Yeah, you was doing all
with
that.
church.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was managing my life ethically because it tell you to live right. So I'm managing, loving my wife, raising my kids. So I'm doing that part.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the spiritual disciplines they tell you to do, pray, study, read the Bible, all of those kinds of things. So I was living right ethically, but I wasn't living well. And what I mean by that, I wasn't living with boundaries. Right? And so I was overcommitting. I was passive aggressive and not assertive. So I was people pleasing. So when someone would ask me to do something, what I would think more about was the negative reaction I was going to get from them as opposed to the negative impact it was going to have on my life. So I would have a bad season of my life just so that other people wouldn't feel bad about me telling them no. And so all of that overcommitment, because you mentioned the things that I was doing. I was finishing a book. I was finishing doctoral work. I was trying to lead the church, trying to raise a young family. And I was traveling everywhere, speaking all of the time. And it just got to the point where my body and my mind I had never experienced that before. It just like shut down on me. It was like, yo, you're going to have to take a break or if not, the way you live in your life is going to break you. And so that was like a rebirthing for me. Like the Darius Daniels that came out of that season was a completely different Darius Daniels.
How
that
so?
Forever altered me.
How so?
I want to frame this right, so like I don't say it the wrong way. But I saw one of the first things I realized is that my spiritual development alone is not enough.
No.
And that was like really a mindset shift for me. Does that make sense? It was like,
it totally does.
God is enough, but the stuff I'm learning in church is not enough.
It's not enough. You need some other tools.
I needed some other tools to live well. And once that happened, that's when I was like, you know what? I got a pastor. I need a coach.
Yeah.
I need
You got a
somebody to help
therapist.
me navigate my life.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like, I need a therapist because I need to figure out what's happened in my past that's driving this overcommitment.
Yeah.
I need a coach to help me navigate my future. And so I feel like I went from just living right to living well with boundaries. I dealt with the stuff in my past in terms of people pleasing. And so the transformation that I experienced with that coach is what motivated. It was almost like what this guy did for me, I want to do this for other people like me. So that's what kind of pushed me into the coaching space and made me start studying emotional intelligence and things of that particular nature because of what I went through.
Yeah. What pushback have you received? Because that's not, we often, because we're so used to playing a role, there are certain roles and certain expectations that people do have of us and certain things that we're not supposed to do because we have a level of spirituality, right?
Yeah.
So what type of pushback did you receive?
It's been two types of pushback.
Okay.
So one is kind of the pushback that kind of comes from people that are not in your immediate circle, right?
Yeah.
Not like close relationships per se. Just people who might have been accustomed to me doing stuff for them all the time, whether that was coming to speak or this, that, and the other.
Oh, the people who did not respect your boundaries.
Yeah. Or they were used to, or they just, the only version of Darius that they knew was a Darius who didn't have boundaries. And they loved that version. So the version of me that they loved was a version of me that I hated.
Yeah.
And so when I became a version of me that I loved, they had to kind of recalibrate the relationship and ask themselves, do you want a relationship with this Darius?
Yeah.
So some of the pushback was kind of external. I got pushback definitely, probably more recently when I started really diving deeper kind of into the entrepreneurial space. So that was like, I get a lot of pushback from that, which is the weirdest thing to me, right?
They don't want you to live.
They don't want you to do nothing. So it's like, okay, now wait a minute. So if I only pastor a church, you say I'm getting the church money, right?
Listen.
So if I'm like, okay, don't worry about the church money. I'm gonna go out here and get my money. It's like you need to be in church. It's like wait a minute. This is
every
weird.
turn is something.
Yeah. So I got that kind of pushback, but I think the most difficult, and this is something that anybody who makes a significant change in their life, they got to wrap their head around this. Sometimes the backlash you don't anticipate comes from people that are closer to you whose lives are going to be the most disrupted by the change that you make.
Yeah.
So if you always giving. So if you're in a friendship and you always paying, then all of a sudden you set a boundary. It's like, I'm not paying anymore. Then
Like, where you go? What
people
happened?
can take you advocating for you as attacking them. And it's like, yo, there's nothing wrong with you, but this is not about you. This is about me. So I feel like I dealt with it. I dealt with challenges like from the outside and from the inside a little bit.
People can take you advocating for you as an attack on them.
Yeah.
Did y'all write this down? That's a note. That's a note for y'all. I'm gonna go ahead. That's a note. What's up, y'all? Episode 1 was amazing. I hope you liked it as much as I did. But here's what I need you to do. I need you to like. I need you to share. I need you to comment. I need you to share this with 5 people so they know what's happening over here at Vault. And get ready. Get your popcorn ready. Set your notifications for episode 2.